18. Solutions. To believe that man-made problems can be solved is a sound and legitimate belief in most cases. Of course, we cannot reverse time and events to undo the evil done, but many problems are capable of a solution. There are, however, problems in solving problems. First, too many people want instant answers and solutions. Our Lord tells us, "For the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear." Mark 4:28. We cannot reap a harvest immediately after the seed is sown. Growth takes time, and so does problem solving. Quick and superficial solutions can lead to more serious problems. Second, solutions are sometimes more desired than resolutions. That is, a desire to make peace can lead to a forced harmony. In too many instances, a guilty person is allowed to make an apology without restitution, or reconciliation is insisted on without even a trace of regret on the part of the guilty party. Many other false forms of solutions can be cited, but our central concern is, third, that solutions which evade the central moral issue are both false and evil. Education in our day is humanistic. Therefore, at its best, it is technical and factual, not Christian. The modern era began with an exaltation of mathematics, a legitimate area of study, but hardly a discipline to condition all others. In school, we are taught that 2 + 2 = 4, which is true enough, but very few answers in life are as easy or as abstract. In high school geometry, I heard some students express a desire that all life and thought could be reduced, like geometry, to a handful of axioms and propositions. Over the generations, men like Spinoza have tried to do just that, but 2 + 2 = 4 is an abstraction and a technical answer. Most of man's problems are neither technical nor abstractions. They are moral and personal. What answers are possible when man is resolutely evil? How can a family crisis be resolved when the members are all evil and persistent in their evil? What answer is there to rulers who are evil and have most people on their side? Again, when churchmen are evil, how can the church be other than evil? Very often, reform and change are the least desired solutions. To expect answers, then, is itself evil. It is rather a time for judgment and rebuilding. The Wall Street Journal, February 3rd, 1988, carried a long report on the abuse of elderly people, often by their children. One woman had a 2-inch scar in her forehead. She had been struck by an iron skillet. A jagged mark on the nose and under one eye came from a kick with a steel-toed shoe. This injury put her into a hospital for a month. The guilty parties were a son and daughter-in-law. The woman was not allowed to use her own stove or refrigerator and ate at a neighbour's. On occasion, she'd been locked out of her own apartment. The woman, however, refuses to file charges against her son so that his evil is matched by her evil in condoning the offence. A congressional subcommittee estimates the number of such assaults to be about 1,100,000 a year, with the reported cases of such abuse increasing rapidly. Some cases result in death. Legislation will not remove such problems from a civilization. First, while laws punishing such offences exist and are necessary, the laws are solving nothing. Even when the injured file charges, no real change occurs all too often. Probation or a short sentence may follow, and then the consequences are worse. The angry criminal exacts his revenge too often. Court orders forbidding any molestation or return to the house are routinely ignored. Second, the basic problem of evil is not resolved. The problem of sin is not solvable on a technical basis. It is not a 2 plus 2 problem. It requires the regeneration of a man to be resolved. It is true that some who are poor and needy respond with gratitude when they are helped. It is also true that some respond with evil, with a desire to hurt and exploit their Good Samaritan as a fool. "Don't expect me to be grateful," one woman contemptuously told a woman who helped and wanted to see the woman use the help constructively. A man, after exploiting and robbing his benefactor, said, "We both got something out of this. You got the satisfaction of doing good, and I got the satisfaction I wanted." Does this mean that we should cease from doing good or from being charitable? By no means, but it requires us to recognize that sin exists on all sides and in all kinds of men. Being in a pitiable condition makes no man good. If we assume that our charity or goodness will change people, then we are, like status welfare workers, thinking humanistically. No man's goodness can change the heart of another man. Only God can. If we place the primary emphasis of our charity on charity itself, that is, the fact of help to others, we go astray. Similarly, we cannot make pity our primary motivation. Divorced from a theological context, pity readily becomes sentimentality and has, as William Blake wanted, merely a human face. It is a humanism in action and, in that form, pity for the needy can easily combine with hatred for the affluent. In the Bible, compassion or pity is always associated with grace. Having received the grace of God, we manifest it to others. We too often hear of people who show compassion to the poor and needy, but less often that their motivation is grace. When grace is our motivation, we know the limitations of our efforts and how limited is the good we can do and how great God's power and works. As we survey the evil in men both high and low, we know that the resolution lies in God's sovereign grace. For us then, the necessity is to recognize that the cross means judgment on sin. If God the Son, as man's last Adam, undergoes judgment for his people, how can men and nations expect to evade judgment for sin? We know they shall be judged. Our duty is to obey our Lord, be charitable where we can, and to know that, however miserable may be the results that we see, in Jesus Christ our labour is not in vain, but will accomplish his purpose. 1 Corinthians 15:58. Our work is thus one of reconstruction, knowing that the design is not of us, but the Lord. But less often that their motivation is grace. When grace is our motivation, we know the limitations of our efforts and how limited is the good we can do and how great God's power and works. As we survey the evil in men both high and low, we know that the resolution lies in God's sovereign grace. For us then, the necessity is to recognize that the cross means judgment on sin. If God the Son, as man's last Adam, undergoes judgment for his people, how can men and nations expect to evade judgment for sin? We know they shall be judged. Our duty is to obey our Lord, be charitable where we can, and to know that, however miserable may be the results that we see, in Jesus Christ our labour is not in vain, but will accomplish his purpose. 1 Corinthians 15:58. Our work is thus one of reconstruction, knowing that the design is not of us, but the Lord.